Hello everyone, I'm Autumn Clark from Sew Paper Paint, and I'm excited today to be sharing with you guys a new technique I've discovered. I've had a play with the Paper Artsy blog recently for the Creative Laboratory theme, and I've developed this really neat technique with infusions and stamping using Vaseline. And the result is a great resist, and I just wanted to show you guys that process today. I'm going to use this really awesome new Seth Apter stamp set for Paper Artsy. So it's just so many really cool backgrounds. So to get started, I've just taken a piece of watercolor paper and I'm going to color my paper with some infusions. So maybe you've tried this in the past. I'm going to use, for the first color, Black Currant. And I'm just going to do a dipping. You could have sprinkled and done all this on the paper, but I really like the result by doing a dip. Sorry about that. Let's see. Just sort of smushes the pigment together. And then we can spritz with water and let all those colors just flow out. So I'm going to get pretty much 90–95% coverage with this first color. And I will have to use the heat gun, so just a moment. I like to push the color from the edges inward with my heat gun. Okay, and then I can go in and get some little darker blotches by using up this last bit of color. Okay, so that's layer one. And there will be several layers in this process, so it's a lot of fun, but it doesn't take very long. Okay, so now the exciting part. I'm taking the petroleum jelly, and I have a small brayer, so that's really helpful. I mean, I'm sure you could take a palette knife and scoop this out if you needed to, but my little brayer fits just in here. And I'm going to use the gel press to create a stamp pad, okay? And it works really well because it's soft enough you can get good detail when you use it to stamp with. I'm not going to cover the whole thing, it's just not necessary, just a small surface, a little larger than the size of my stamp. So I'm going to use the circles today from Seth's stamp set. And you can use a block, I just think it's just as easy to do it this way. So I've got good coverage, and I'm just going to begin to stamp a pattern. And now the only thing is with this, it's not going to be very visible where you stamped it. You can't see it at all. You can roll out your brayer again between stamping, and it just gives you a nice, good, fresh pad. So I remember that I stamped here, so maybe I'll do a different direction on this side. And then a little down here maybe. And let's go to the top. Okay, so now we've got the petroleum jelly. We can't see it, we just know that it's there. Oh. And we're going to go in with a second color. Now for this first tag, I used black first, the black currant, and then I went over it with rusty car. I was just fascinated at how the black being layered first and then a color, how that worked out. I just love that rusty effect. But this time I want to tone down a bright color with black, and let's just see how that works out. I've never done this, so it's just a live experiment. I'm just going to spritz just a little bit of water and add a few shakes of the pigment, and then we're going to dip. You can see right away it worked, guys. Look at that. It's so cool. We can add more water just to we want the pigment to cover our whole surface. I really like this dipping with the infusions. I think it'll be my go-to method. And let's see. I'm just going to make a little bit more because I really like this dark black. Let's see. I like to do the water, add the infusions, then put a little water before I dip. Whoops. These are all my infusions in this little container. Okay. Is that exciting or what? Now we can take a paintbrush. Not too big. Let's see. I'm just going to take a paintbrush here and pick up some of this color and just touch up areas where we really want to bring in some contrast. And I'll see here where we didn't have full coverage with the black currant, then we get that white. And I really like that. I like the white showing through. It just adds one more layer, one more bit of contrast. I kind of got some fingerprints, so you know what? I'm just gonna add some more color and do a little bleed. Okay, now this is where the magic is going to happen. When we heat set this Vaseline, it's going to completely absorb into the paper. There's not going to be a shiny, gooey residue whatsoever. I'll try not to get fingerprints in this pigment this time. You probably can't see this. I don't have a high definition camera set up, so you may not be able to see it, but that glossiness is just completely disappearing as we use the heat tool. I have to be careful not to burn my fingers. And see how the colors just pooled around the Vaseline? I love that's my favorite part. It's so pretty. Now I want to make sure and heat every area so that I don't end up with any glossy Vaseline basically just left on my panel. I want to heat every single part of the color. Okay, so that's the result of using pink and then black. Now normally I would do something else with the rest of this powder. We could have watered it down and made another background, but just for the video's sake I won't do that. Now we can go in and stamp with another color to create even more. So let's just see what maybe this looks like, and then maybe some black. We don't have to do a lot. We don't want to busy this up too much, but let's maybe take these are the numbers, and they kind of mimic that circle design. So let's just to see what happens. This may or may not work because it is black, but it does. See? So we could add just a little of that. Okay, I'll just heat that really quick. then let's add a little bit of black, maybe especially around the edge. So I'm not even gonna fully ink this stamp. I'm just gonna use it this way so I can sort of partial stamp. So just another layer, like Seth always says, we're one layer away. And then how about right here? Okay, now one more step, and I'm sorry I didn't get it. Grab it. Let me come over here. I want to add some stamping with Paper Artsy Frescoes. And this time let's do the triangles. These triangles. That one's more of a like a grate. So I'm just going to take my baby wipe. It's just a really easy way. We could definitely brayer out some of the paint onto the gel press and make an ink pad. That way I like to do that a lot, but I don't have another brayer that small, so we'll just use the baby wipe. Okay, I'm just going to lightly try to cover. And stamp. So see, now we've brought in some more white, and it just helps blend with that background white. Okay, there you have it. Now we go in at this point and add our embellishments and focal point, but it's just a really fun background technique for you guys to experiment with. Cheap and easy and lots of fun. I hope you've enjoyed it today. Thanks again.